Hey everybody, how the hell are you? Well, I have a bunch of Blu-rays to review for you today, a bunch of 4Ks mostly. Been a couple weeks since I last uploaded, I think. I don't even remember what my last video was, to be honest with you, but I did get a lot of 4Ks around Thanksgiving. I got a lot of Tom Hanks stuff. I was in a Tom Hanks kick. And then for Christmas, I picked up a bunch of Christmas movies and some other things. So I got a lot of Blu-rays recently, probably like 10 or something. So we've all probably seen most of these movies, so I'm not going to like review the plot and everything. But I'm going to mostly review the audio and the video. You know, how is the 4K transfer? How is the Atmos track or the audio in general? So first I have a stack of three that I haven't gotten to yet. I just wanted to show them off though. Some of these I've shown off before, but Green Mile in 4K. One of my favorite movies. I love this. I love Tom. I love Tom Hanks, but I do love what Frank Darabont, right? Yeah, the director who also directed The Mist and The Majestic, which I also really like, and The Shawshank Redemption, if I'm correct. Just a wonderful director. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I'll put this on the ground. I don't really have a spot for these. Next is Christmas Vacation in 4K, which came out pretty recently as well for the holidays. I heard this was an excellent transfer. I just didn't get around to watching it yet, but looking forward to it. And the last is a good one, Caroline on 4K, Shout Factory release, and I got the Steelbook. It is, I mean, Shout Factory normally we know, does great stuff, but I'm particularly impressed by this because I've had some and seen some Shout Factory releases that are good, but this is just. Let me show that off for you. Look at this artwork, man. Turn around the back, and then the inside. The disc is actually my Blu-ray player because I was going to watch it and got sidetracked. Comes with this booklet. I don't want to turn this into a Caroline review. I haven't even or Coraline. I haven't even watched it yet. But, it comes with this cool booklet, and here's the inside art. I've seen Coraline before. I really enjoy Coraline. I was really into it. I watched it like obsessively when it came out, and then I never watched it again. I heard that this one is extremely good, like one of the best 4K ever, but that certainly of this year. And I don't know, man. I'm just really looking forward to watching it. Because it's claymation, so it's going to look very clear. Anyways, let's review the ones that I watched. We'll start with Fire in the Sky, which I did mention is a alien abduction movie. It's based on a book. Obviously, it's bullshit, but the filmmakers had their fun with this movie. This is a very interesting film. I will talk a little bit about the plot of this one because I think this is, of the stack I have, that people might have not seen this one. It's basically about a guy. It's really a group of friends. They're like blue collar workers, and they're out like driving in their truck, and one of the guys gets abducted by aliens. Basically, they see like a spaceship. They don't really know what they're looking at, but they take off and leave him there because they think he died. And it's basically he's missing, and the town is basically, thinking that they killed him, and it's kind of like almost like a witch hunt in a way. Um, you know, it's a movie where if it was released today, I don't think it would do. I don't know how well this did, to be honest with you. I know it's something of a cult film now, but I think certainly if it was released today, it probably wouldn't do very well because you go in to see an alien abduction movie, and for pretty much the whole movie, you don't see anything like that. It's more of like a character study. It's a very slow-paced movie. It's a character study piece of, how, and some of it is, a little simple to a degree. Like, yeah, we've kind of seen this before. But I don't know. It's just done very well. It's just a fascinating way to tell a alien abduction story by focusing on what these characters are going through. The guys that saw it happen but didn't get abducted, and how the town kind of turns on them. And it's just a fascinating movie. I really like it. The acting is not the greatest, but I'm very picky with acting, and I think the acting in here is fine. It's not Academy Award winning acting, but it's serviceable. It's more than serviceable, I would say. And then they give you what you want at the end with the alien abduction sequence, which is amazing. It is really good. Very, very good. It's just a great movie. So video quality. Actually, let's start with the audio quality. I believe this is a 5.1 mix. Yeah, 5.1, DTS 5.1. It's very good. Very, very good. I thought that, you know, short of having Atmos, I don't know how this could have been much better. Everything was utilized very well. Dialogue was very clear. And this movie has what most movies are mixed very with a very wide sort of dynamic range. But this one in particular, it's something I find lacking in certain movies these days, where it's either too loud or too quiet, or you can't hear the dialogue. And in this movie, there's just such a good range of sound and dynamics, and you'll get like lots of quiet, tender moments, and then you'll get moments that really put your subwoofer to work. I would say of films I've watched recently, this one in particular really put my sub to work because particularly in the alien abduction sequence, at least when they first find the spaceship and the kind of whole sequence happens, I thought like my house was going to explode, and my subwoofer was on one. Now, granted, I have an extremely powerful subwoofer, but I was kind of futzing around. I like turned the sub off, and it almost changed the scene to not have the low rumbles in there. And not only that, but there was like upright bass, contrabass, bowing like low C's, like very low notes, right? Like lowest notes on a piano, right? Very, very low. And when I shut my sub off, those notes were not there. So it really, the sound was very good, and it was very crucial to the movie. Video quality, this is as good as you will get on a Blu-ray. Okay, this is also Shout Factory, Scream Factory. They always do great stuff. They're an indie house. They're really putting in good work. But this is simply as good as it gets on Blu-ray. I've seen 4Ks that don't look as good as this. It is like really, really good visual fidelity, but also while having a beautiful filmic look. There's a lot of great film grain. Colors are beautiful in this. I occasionally forgot I was watching a Blu-ray and thought that HDR was kicking in, because when, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a sequence with a very big, overwhelming, bright red light, and it was just very vivid on my TV. No HDR, just, yeah, this just fantastic. I went on for a little bit long about that one, but it is great. If you want a cool, slow burn kind of thought piece, sci-fi horror with some cool, scary stuff at the end, man, get it. Okay, next is Big. Tom Hanks. Everybody loves Big. Not much to say audio-wise. I can't even remember what it was. I think it was, it was just a stereo mix. It was fine, and visual quality was quite good. Not as good as Fire in the Sky. But yeah, it was actually quite good, because there's plenty of Blu-rays that really aren't that great, right? So this was quite good. I don't know, a 4 and a 4, let's say, or maybe a 3 on the audio. It could have been a 5.1 mix, but good audio. Quality was fine. Okay, next, 4K. Here we go. The rest are 4Ks. Home Alone. Unfortunately, I said in my last video, I was kind of bummed that they didn't have Home Alone 2 in 4K, because I kind of like that one more. But yeah, this was quite good. Audio-wise, I would give a 4. It was very good. 5.1, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 5.1 mix. It was good. It was very good. It wasn't this movie doesn't really have a ton of, crazy sound effects. There was some cool stuff, though, with like the zip line and some of the traps and stuff with hearing stuff coming out of the surrounds. So it was pretty good, but I would give it like a 3.54. It didn't blow me away. Visual quality I would probably give a 4. It was very good. The HDR especially was exceptional. Even literally from the opening titles, they were so bright and just so much more vivid than I was used to seeing. I've seen this movie a million times, as I'm sure you all have, but yeah, very, very, very good HDR in this film, especially with all the lights. When you see all the houses on the street with the lights turning on, extremely like bright, piercing lights. That's the stuff that I particularly like with HDR. You get very, very bright lights that you normally wouldn't see, that kind of almost shock you. They look like they're jumping off the screen, and then very vivid colors. But yeah, in terms of like the fidelity, this has a great filmic look to it, and there are certain scenes of it that look fantastic. Like, oh yeah, this is definitely a HDR or a 4K transfer. And then there's a lot of scenes that, if I were to probably get down and compare them to the Blu-ray, probably look better, but I kind of forgot I was watching a 4K. So I will give it a 4, because it did look really, really great in some sections, and others I was like, eh. And the thing with this is I just kind of thought like, oh yeah, it looks good, and while that's good, like we don't want it to look bad, I think when you watch really good 4K transfers, it's like you're watching the movie for the first time. You probably hear people say that a lot, but it truly does when you get a good one, a really good one, because all of these 4K things combine to create like what almost is like what the movie's supposed to look like. As if we've been seeing it wrong all these years, and I don't really get that with this one, but it was a good one. I recommend picking it up. I've never seen the Blu-ray, but I would assume it's quite a bit better, especially with the HDR. I'm going to do another Tom Hanks one quick. I'll try to not make this super long, but it's me, so I think it's going to be. But you kind of know that by now. Forrest Gump. Visual quality would get a 4 because there are sections of this movie that, particularly like on at his mansion, when he's hanging out as a kid, and then when he goes back and lives there, and even in the army and in Vietnam, those sequences just very much like Home Alone just looked good. They didn't look bad, but I never thought, wow, I'm watching a 4K. They just looked good. But then there are sequences, and it really is kind of this one even more so than that one, where I really saw a distinct difference, and that kind of poked out like a sore thumb, like, oh, I think they should have taken a look at those other scenes, because a lot of stuff, like when he's going on his running journey and he's running across the country, there are shots of nature that are like planet Earth level 4K looking stuff. There's some beautiful shots in this movie, and like when he's out running and stuff, it's like, whoa, the HDR is really good. I'm gonna just give it a 3 out of 5 for video because I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff in here, much more so than Home Alone, where it's just like, yeah, it looks good, but eh. And then there's shots that are absolutely mind-blowing, like really beautiful. Audio was excellent, like really good audio. This has an Atmos track, and it was quite good. There was like bombs coming down that sounded like they were coming down from my ceiling. There's a thunderstorm in the movie, and the sub was kicking in great, and the surrounds were doing the thunder going back and forth, and then you could hear the rain coming down from above, like really good Atmos. So the audio track in this, though, I thought was excellent. I don't know what other people thought. I think that this one had some mixed reviews when it came out. I can see why, but yeah, the audio track was excellent. Do I recommend picking it up? I think so, yes. Like, it's definitely probably with the Atmos track. Yeah, the Atmos track is good. Next is another bit of a similar one. Elf. Elf just had a 5.1 mix. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 5.1 mix, and it was good. It was serviceable. Video is kind of the same, the visual quality. Sequences where I just kind of forgot I'm watching a 4K, which again is fine. Like, that, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. None of these are bad. But then there are sequences where it's like, whoa, that's really good. So it's kind of the similar thing. I recommend picking it up. It's quite a. There are definitely sequences where it looks stunning, like especially the beginning of the film at Stan's workshop and everything. The colors are very good HDR in that one as well. But no, okay, the last two are like 5 out of 5s. They're really fucking good. First is A Christmas Story. Now this does not have. I believe this just has a. Yeah. 2.1 mono. Yeah, so this has a mono mix. And that would be kind of annoying, but the visuals, okay? The visuals are unbelievable. Now, backstory. This is my favorite Christmas movie. I'm one of the people that watch this, when it's on like TBS on Christmas. I would watch it 24/7 when they would air it. I just love this movie. It's just got a charm to it, and it's kind of weird. Like, it's got this like weird dreamlike kind of vibe to it that's kind of creepy. It's just a great film. I love it. Anyways, though, the visual quality, it's kind of unbelievable, to be honest with you. Now, keep in mind that this isn't like crystal clear, right? It's not like one of those movies that wasn't digitally shot. And in addition to that, this movie has this glow over the whole film, like this glow filter. I always kind of thought that was cool, though. I kind of liked that. But if you don't like that kind of stuff, then, like Hook has that as well when they go to Neverland. There's a glow filter on the whole thing. But it looks really good. Visual quality, though, this is the best this movie has ever looked by far. It is really good. It's one of those movies, like, it makes me continually feel like I'm watching it for the first time, even though it was just like a mono mix track, which still sounded excellent, by the way. But I was just like, holy shit. The whole time I'm watching it, I was just like a treat for the eyes, really. Like, for a number of reasons, like the visual fidelity is excellent on this. I should say, like, there's a lot of like fiber details on shirts, and shit just looks really good. There are a lot of close-up shots in this film, and you really get to see the detail in those shots. And I have nothing more to say. It just looks so good throughout. It was just the whole time like, oh man, this looks so good. But the HDR is so excellent in this film. Like the colors are deep and rich and amazing, and shots like when the kids are walking to school in the snow and they, what Randy's suit, big red suit, it's like unbelievable, and especially like the bright lights, as I always said. Of course, the lamp scene looked amazing, the Christmas tree, but even like the snow reflecting light and stuff like that looked amazing. It was just, I'm giving this one a 5. If you like A Christmas Story, it's a must own. It is by far one of the best 4Ks I've seen. The next one is by far, without question, the best 4K I've ever seen. Some things come close, but damn, this is in another class. Like this is a 4K that I'm gonna hold everything else to from now on, and that's The Godfather. Okay. Holy smokes, man. This is really good. Like, scary good. Like, you're kind of like, is this really happening? If you like The Godfather, I feel like most people do, right? It's like the quintessential American film. And you don't own this, you need to get it as soon as possible. It's freaking unbelievable. Francis Ford Coppola, I almost said Martin Scorsese. I'm so sorry. He spent a lot of time with this film, and those 4Ks where the director is involved really makes a difference, because they know, like the original cinematographer and colorist, they know what they wanted it to look like, right? Like they know what their goals were. And I think thousands of hours were put into this. Like a lot of work was put into this. Well, it shows. It's often very clear. So visual fidelity is great. We know with these older films that like you're never going to get, digital levels of like extreme fidelity. But what you get from this is like it's the total package. Like I said with A Christmas Story, but this one is just on another level. It's like, this looks like a movie. Like, it's like, oh, now I understand what movies are supposed to look like. Like, I get it now. It's one of the, and I'm not saying that to be like like a big brain dude or anything. It just kind of, it's like a revelation moment, if you know what I mean. Because it looks so good, and it definitely looks like it's in 4K the whole time, but there's just this film look to it. Like the film grain, the lighting is able to be shown in the way it's supposed to, the shadows. You see everything come together. The colors in this are amazing. And this is a case of using, HDR having very vivid colors looks awesome, but this is a prime example, the best example I can give of HDR allowing colors to look more natural, because I've never seen as natural skin tones as this film. And, you get to see the entire color palette of this movie that they intended on full display now. A lot of pale looking colors, pastels and pale colors and things. Of course, black suits look great, red ties, but especially like the whole opening sequence at Vito's daughter's wedding. It's like everybody's pink dresses are like tan suits and gray suits and lots of pale greens and pale blues. And you don't ever really just see pale colors in HDR. You don't think of HDR as pale colors. But I don't know how to explain it. The colors are somewhat pale and pastel, and especially in the opening sequence, and they just look so realistic. It's very hard to explain. I think it's one that you kind of need to see to get. But everything comes together, and everything is perfect on their own. And I'm talking about the visuals, of course. So you have all these kind of pretty much perfect elements coming together to give you the film look. And I can't say much more than that. It's kind of unbelievable. Like, it looks so good. This is one where just the whole, I almost had to pause this movie at points just to look at how good it was. So yeah, it was pretty good. And in terms of audio, we have a Dolby Audio 5.1. It wasn't Atmos, which I saw some people were upset over. I guess that would be kind of cool, but I don't know if there were too many moments that would call for Atmos. But it was excellent. Again, a movie that uses dynamics, lots of quiet talking, and then big ass explosions that punch. Yeah, it's the best 4K there is. Although that might not be true because I haven't seen the second one yet. I didn't get the trilogy pack. I just bought the first one, and I heard the second transfer is better. Wow. Yeah. So, anyways, that's that. Sorry this was so long, but that's all the 4Ks. I had to do a mass review. Yeah, that's it for movies. Not much else. I'm reading The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. I've taken a little while to get through it. It's a very short book, but I've just been sidetracked. But yeah, it's excellent. I really like Paul Tremblay. And my next book I'll read will probably be Nosferatu by Joe Hill. As a matter of fact, if I want to show off, I got this used perfect condition. It does have the cellophane on it, but it's got this embossing. Oh man, this is a good looking book. I got the hardcover of this. It is in perfect condition. Wow, I got it used. I've never seen a used book in this condition. The seller, I think they like really take care of their used books, but I did get a paperback of this. I think I showed it off, and it was kind of like warped and shit, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, nah, I need the hardcover. I shouldn't have got the paperback. So anyways, that's that. Take care. Peace out.